Croeso nôl unwaith to, welcome back once again. Tro hyn, ni'n mynd i edrych ar yr teclyn Loft unwaith eto, ond ychydig bach mwy o fanylder a ychydig bach mwy o gymlethdod hefyd. We're going to look at the Loft tool again, but this time with a little bit more detail and a little bit more complexity as well. We're going to try and create one of these. It's a little pencil pot, a pentagonal pencil pot that has a revolve. You can see, you take the camera there, a revolve feature and a circular belly. So it starts at a pentagon, goes to a circle and finishes at a pentagon at the top. Okay, so we'll start as we always do with a sketch on one of these work planes. I'm going to look straight at the right work plane there. And I'm going to use this tool, the inscribed polygon tool. I'm going to click in the center point, drag directly down, click again, and we can see that's a hexagon with 6 sides, but if I move up or down, it adds or takes away vertices. So I want a pentagon. Click. And I'm going to give this pentagon a dimension. So it's an inscribed polygon, so the pentagon sits on an inscribed circle. So give that circle a dimension of, let's go with 80. 80 is fine. Okay, so that's my first sketch. Easy as that. Just a pentagon on an inscribed 80mm circle. We can see it there. So I'm happy with that. I'm going to accept that sketch. I'm going to turn off or hide even these work planes that I'm not using. So I'll keep the right work plane for now. And as I did before with the Loft video, the previous Loft video, I'm going to add a plane. So click on the plane tool and then click on this work plane. Now, as we learned before, the default offset is 25. I'm going to set that to 50. Accept. Now, as I mentioned from my little pencil pot, it starts with a pentagon at the bottom, goes to a circle, and then to a pentagon again. So this second work plane that we've added, I'll just look directly down at that using the cube. And I'm going to draw, apologies, we need to sketch on this work plane. So yes, sketch on plane 1, the one I've just added. Everything we add, every feature we add is listed in this toolbar at the side here. So sketch 1, and I put plane 1 in. So I've selected plane 1 as my sketch plane. Center point circle, drag out. I'm going to set that to 80, same as my inscribed circle. Now, a new tool to us all, I'm going to add construction lines. So the construction, I'll use the construction line here. And I'm going to put lines in again. So I'm going to go from the center and drag out. I'm not. Let's do one more thing first. I'm going to project. So take this, there we are, turn it. I'm going to project these lines from the pentagon below onto the sketch I'm working. So that pentagon is projected through. Press escape. And I'm going to select these lines. If I keep going around and clicking them, I'm going to change those lines to construction lines. And you can see they're long, short dashes. Now, the construction lines aren't going to affect whatever I extrude or revolve. They're just there to help me to build the sketch. So I'm going to add a few more lines on here. From the center to these. There we are, let my internet connection catch up. Now the reason I'm doing this is so that when I revolve this bottom pentagon, I want the revolution to go through, and you can see the revolve lines following through. So I need to give this pentagon a point to revolve through to get to this vertex here. Okay, so to do that we need to tell Onshape the path it's got to go through. So now that I've put construction lines in, we need to put points, or we need to split this circle up. So we've got points at each of these vertices where these lines cross. So I'm going to take the trim tool, drop down to split. And I want to split these circles at where these lines cross here. The circle line crosses my construction line. So if I hover over, we'll get a little dot there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've got split lines. So now if I escape, just take all my tools away. If I now hover over this circle, it selects it as individual segments. And that's exactly what I wanted. Perfect. So I've got 5 segments. So each of these lines starts and stops at these points here. Fab. So I'm happy with that sketch. Press the big green tick. And now I want to put another work plane above again by 50 millimeters. Let's just to see what we are. There we are. So that's my initial work plane, my pentagon. Second work plane is a circle. And the next work plane above, so if I pick work plane, select this plane, I'm going to put an offset of 50 as I did previously. Big green tick, that's where I want my... So now these work planes are all above each other. 1, 2, 3. I'm going to put a sketch on my top work plane. And I'm going to project the lines from my pentagon. So from my bottom pentagon all the way and project them onto this sketch at the top. I'm happy with that. Press the big green tick. So now we have 3 work planes. Top and bottom pentagon are identical in the same place, and in the center we've got a circle. So now let's do the magic and apply the Loft tool. Loft, and it's important we pick these profiles in order. So I'm going to start at the bottom, pick my second sketch, and we can see that the Loft takes it from a pentagon to a circle and a pentagon at the top. Well, that's quite interesting, but it's not exactly what I wanted. So that's seamlessly taken it from a pentagon to a circle to a pentagon. That's not exactly what I wanted. I wanted something slightly different. I want to match connections to give it this spiral look. So if I match connections, I'm going to pick this bottom corner here, and now I want this to spiral to here, the next corner along, actually the one in there on the circle, and then to the next corner along again, keeping going round the pentagon on the top here, and there we have my spiral loft that goes from a pentagon to a circle to a pentagon at the top, and has this spiral because we're matching the connections all the way around. Big green tick because I'm happy with the preview. And there we have it. Let's clean this up a bit. Let's now hide the work plane so we can actually see what we've drawn. Right, the first plane I put in, plane 1, click on the eye icon, and plane 2. And there we have it, a spiral loft, pentagon, circle, pentagon with a spiral. I'm going to shell this as I did in my previous video. Take the top face away. I'm happy with that. The 2.5mm wall seems to work. 2.5mm from my 3D print gives a nice strong 3D print, and it's just thick enough to give it enough structural rigidity to be useful. So I'm happy with that preview. Big green tick, and I'm gonna add a small fillet to this top edge. If I select that top edge, a 1mm fillet, just to take that edge off and give it a nice sort of quality feel. There we are. Zoom out a little bit. Okay, just the one more feature then. I can change the look of this because by now you're probably bored of this sort of dull grey-blue colour of all your parts. So I'll just show how to change the colour. If we go down here to part 1 on the left hand side, edit appearance, and we can change the colour. Let's go for a nice bright yellow. Let's go with that, nice bright yellow, because as it happened, the PLA I had in the 3D printer was yellow. Okay, we can 3D print in loads of different colours and materials as well. There we are. Diolch yn fawr, thank you very much for watching. Have a go at making this, and again, share what you've made with me, please. Diolch, thank you very much.